Outrageous.
Dishonest.
Disappointed.
Narcissist.
Abject disappointment.
Unique.
Not ready to be president.
Off the scale.
Crazy.
Completely unfit to be president.
Unbelievable.
Contemptible.
That's how a room of Pittsburgh voters described President Donald Trump. And many of those people you just heard from voted for Donald Trump, calling him 8 months later things like outrageous, crazy, and contemptible. They were part of a focus group conducted by veteran pollster Peter Hart. Here's some more of what those Trump voters on hand had to say about the man they helped put in office.
What most disappoints me is he's such an incredibly flawed individual that has articulated many of the values that I hold dear, and the messenger is overwhelming the message. I wish he was on the opposite side of where I hold dear, because it would be better for the causes that I like.
As much as I thought he would be a quick learner and delegate to top-notch individuals, he hasn't done that.
We know he's a nut. Everybody knew he's a nut. But there comes a point in time where you need to become professional. He's not even professional, let alone presidential.
This thing was 90 minutes long. There's a lot more of that. Joining me now is former Maryland Congresswoman Donna Edwards and longtime conservative radio talk show host Charlie Sykes, who's now an MSNBC contributor. Warm welcome to both of you. Charlie, let me just, that thing that the gentleman said, that he wishes that Donald Trump were on the opposite side of the causes that he holds dear because it would be better for the causes he holds dear. Let's just unpack that a little bit.
Well, you get that little sense of embarrassment that he's not only not advancing those causes, but that he's actually toxifying them, that he's actually hurting the cause. And I really got that sense. You know, we've talked before about the cult of personality around Donald Trump, the fact that his base doesn't move. But you really get that sense of that creeping disillusionment, disenchantment. They're clearly paying attention. And, you know, even though some of the numbers might not move as dramatically as you might expect, you know, there's still some cracks underneath that, particularly, you know, because, again, people are paying very, very close attention. What I was also struck by was their disillusionment wasn't so much about specific issues or accomplishments. You know, they're not talking about Charlottesville or other specifics or healthcare. They're talking about his demeanor, his personality, his character. And that's coming through loud and clear to them.
Right. Donna, that did come out loud and clear. Those adjectives were not about his prowess in getting things done. That one woman said, I wish he would be professional about it. But everything else sounded like a bunch of people around a table talking about somebody they just don't like.
Well, they were, and I mean, the words that they used were striking because they were so staggering in their precision about President Trump's character and describing him in ways that I've never heard a president described before. And it really does show both their disappointment, but also their disillusionment. They were willing to vote for this same guy who said many of the same kinds of things and displayed the same demeanor. And I think somehow, just like a first date, they thought the second date was going to be different, and it turns out that it wasn't at all.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.